Welcome to Epic Fail episode 112. Before we kick this one off, just wanted to take a moment to thank our Patreon supporters. That's right, Craig C. And I apparently left a few names off if you're watching the video. Mickey, Goth, Cuddles, and there's another one. My bad. Joseph, that's it. Boom. Yes, so you guys' names are not there, but we still love you, and I'll fix that for next week. Also, we've had some major donations. If you happen to be one of the ones that donated or one of the people that have subscribed to the channel, we thank you as well. Thank you, everyone, for allowing us to fail.
Warning, this show may contain mature language and is not suitable for small children, pets, or blood elves.
You're now listening to the Epic Fail podcast.
Greetings! As was mentioned before, Epic Fail. This is episode 112. And before we get going, I just want to say, sadly, we were trying to get a very specific guest for tonight, and it didn't work out. He, unfortunately, is busy at night this next couple weeks. So, no bad mage rotation jokes this week, even though the episode title number
Speak for yourself.
112.
Speak for yourself. It's gonna come up.
Oh, it'll come up, yeah, but we're not going to have as many. Because I was going to have tons of them just because he's actually named 112. But, anyway, enough of that. Let's just go ahead and get right into the fail train. With us, as always, from the land of, moose and snow and arguments with homeless people. Scarlett, how are you, and what have you been up to this week?
You forgot to say something.
Okay.
Happy belated birthday. Yay, I'm old.
Happy birthday, Scarlett. I won't sing to you. I won't traumatize you.
He started that out like he was going to sing. I was ready for it.
I won't traumatize you, Scarlett, not for your birthday.
It was yesterday, technically. So, well, actually, 2 days ago, since technically now it's Saturday morning. But it was Thursday, whatever day that was. Anyways. Guess what I got this week?
Mounts.
Yes. I got my monk mount. And I got the monk pet because I got concordance on my monk. Yay, Suramar. It's good for filling the AP bar. And I'm not even done yet. What else did I do? I played some Overwatch. I didn't play the PTR this week. I know there's been some Doomfist changes. I'm assuming we're going to talk about Doomfist. Anyways, there's a dude. His name is Doomfist.
I don't know who you're talking about.
What?
Well, if people were here for the spoiler show last week. But,
again, I don't know what you're talking about. There was nothing happening last week.
Yeah, I know.
I was in Louisiana.
Absolutely nothing.
I don't know what you're talking about.
And eating some weird food that looked weird. Just saying, little fishy things. Those looked gross. No offense. I hear that's the thing to do in Louisiana is eat is it crawfish? Crayfish?
It's crawfish, and no, I did not eat any crawfish.
They look so weird. Anyways, speaking of that, I'm supposed to go to Red Lobster tomorrow, and I don't even like seafood, so that should be good. But they have chickens, so, yay. Do you guys have Red Lobster in the States?
Yes.
Yes, but I don't eat there.
Because you don't eat fish either?
Well, it's not that. I got a sample platter back in, I think, 2002-ish area. And I was the only one to get sick, so I was allergic to something.
You should have got the chicken.
So I mean, I tried lobster and all that, and there's probably chicken on it. I don't know, but whatever it was, I was the only one that got sick. So I just don't eat at Red Lobster, nor do I eat seafood because I don't know what it was.
I want to eat seafood. I want to like it, but it's the smell of it is just, I don't know. Anyways, I digress. So, I played some Hearthstone. This week's Brawl is fun. You guys probably have no idea what it is, but that's okay. It's still fun. You should do it. And they have an event coming up. I mean, it is going on right now where all your quests give double gold. So I'm going to have about 50, enough to buy 50 packs, probably just with in-game gold by the time the new expansion comes out. So that's cool. But anyways, it's been a pretty tranquil week other than that. What about you guys?
Well, I'll get into my week momentarily, but Theory, I've heard you talk a couple times, but I haven't seen you yet. What have you been up to this week?
Hiding, mostly, until now. From you. No. So
Wouldn't be the first time.
That's true.
Or first person.
So the beginning of this week, I was in Louisiana, which is why I was not able to attend the show last week. Forgive my mic, it's doing weird things. And the cat's saying hi, too. I don't know if you can hear that. But I did not have crawfish because I don't really like crawfish. I did, however, have an amazingly good sandwich from a restaurant called Hot Tails, which is in False River. And they make, what is it called? It's a catfish po' boy. It was awesome. It was really, really good. And we went to another restaurant, which was called the Francis, I think, which I had pictures for. If you're on my Facebook, you probably saw that. But enough about food. I did actually sit out of raiding last night with CTM. They did happen to get a mythic boss down while I was in Louisiana. And they are still working on Heroic KJ because he's still a pain in the butt. But they did get the first mythic boss down. So kind of retook the top spot in CTR, at least for the moment, back. Although there's a couple of teams that are right there with us currently. This week's kind of weird for raiding. We're going to talk a little bit about it later, but we're probably going to miss some attempts on progression bosses this week because of something that's happening in the other team. And we actually did that something that's happening with the chickens this week. So we'll talk to that a little bit later. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me. What about you?
Well, other than throwing bad puns into the chat, I was in on the chickens raid. We'll talk about that momentarily, but let's see. Heroes, Stukov, which we mentioned before. Tried him out. OP as anything. He's the most OP healer in the game right now. I did try a bit of PTR. Well, I tried PTR, but I'm going on my 4th reinstall of the PTR because it keeps crashing on me. So I don't know what's going on there.
You're queued.
Probably. Well, I mean, yeah.
Like you.
It is literally crashing me out. It's getting like the load screen which says, like play, highlights, all that fun stuff. It's getting to that screen and then it just closes and it's crashing right there. I'm like, lovely. And yeah, other than that, a lot of WoW. I'm currently at 1,310s. Admittedly, most of them have almost no gear, have not finished the Order Hall campaign, so they only have the 2 slots, and even those are empty, because you don't get those from the invasions.
That sounded so kinky.
I know. Not kinky enough, apparently. They're empty. But,
Apparently.
yeah. I'm working on it. Let's see, I've got 6 are Alliance, 5 are Alliance, and then the rest are all Horde. So that's just because that's where they are. That's where they were. I didn't change as many over to Alliance because I started Horde. But yeah, that's been, my week has pretty much been WoW and Heroes and Overwatch when I have been able to, which has been really late at night. Just not the PTR. But that thing I did with the chickens, no, I did not AFK during it. I was only about an hour and a half late to it, but that's another story. And then I've done it twice now, so far. And I get
That's what she said.
Oh, it was more than twice.
She said twice.
Yep. But yeah, we'll get into all that other fun stuff momentarily. So, I know we have a ton of stuff we got to get through, and not a whole lot of time to get through it. So, Theory, do you want to...
Not mute myself?
That would be helpful too.
Yeah. I'm busy trying to find a picture to share of this catfish po' boy, which a po' boy is a sandwich, by the way, like a hoagie style sandwich for those of you in chat. However, I couldn't
I
find
like my pun better.
a picture that did it justice, but the restaurant is actually called Hot Tails, not DuckTales, and it is in New Roads, not False River, and they do have a website. However, there's no pictures of the sandwich, but it was very, very good.
I Wikipedia'd it.
Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah. Did you Wikipedia the po' boy part or the Hot Tails po' boy part?
The po' boy. The po' boy.
I still say my bad pun. A po' boy is a small male child without money.
I don't know.
The roast beef po' boy looks good.
Well, they got a lot of good ones, but po' boy is usually a southern thing, and it's usually seafood. So, like, they have shrimp po' boys. There's chicken po' boy, too, but that's, like, just a chicken sandwich. But anyway, like you said, we have lots to talk about. So let's go ahead and get started on doing some stuff. How about we jump into the news?
This is the Blizzard news you can use.
So I hope that you changed or updated the name on your tickets, because today was the last day. However...
Oh, shoot. I forgot to do that. Oh, wait. What tickets?
You know what I forgot out of the whole situation?
Buying
was
tickets?
Getting the ticket. The good news, however, is I'm still in the running for a freebie.
Oh, yeah?
Because of the whole Heroes thing going on.
Gotcha.
So I still have a chance. It's like minuscule, and I probably should play the lottery if I win it, but it's still a chance.
So you're saying
It's probably about the same chance as winning the lottery. If you think about it, there's probably
much easier.
a few.
Yeah, depending on which lottery you're talking.
Yeah.
That's true.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I still wish I had been able to go, and to be honest, I probably could have tried, but I didn't try to buy the tickets that last third time they actually released tickets to us. So.
Well, it's a trip for two. So as long as you're okay with, same room as me. Not same. It better be freaking 2 beds. That's all I'm saying.
We'll have to talk about that. So remember when you were...
I'm not going to...
Kinky.
Remember when we were talking about me hiding from you? Well, Blizzard is about to make it easier to allow all of us to hide from everyone. So the appear offline mode has been teased in the Hearthstone update, as well as a couple other places. Draven, what's this going on?
So basically, short version of this is you log into the Blizzard app, Battle.net, whatever you want to call it. And right now, I'll even pull it up because I'm still logged in. You have online, away, busy, and log out. And that's it. Online is a little green thing saying you're there. People can talk to you, no problem. Away, self-explanatory. It's away. Busy is you're busy. And I mean, you can adjust settings so certain people can send you a message and it will get through and all that. But right now, that's it for right now. What this is going to do, it's going to be appear offline. So you can get into games and not show up on Battle.net or Blizzard app or whatever you want to call it. The issue here let's say you're getting into like Warcraft. Your character name's still gonna show up on the guild list, or like if you have that character name as a friend, you're still gonna show up because you're only not listed in BattleNet. So if you're in a different game than everybody else.
So one of the podcasts that I usually listen to was talking about how their normally full group of guildies would all of a sudden just not be there, and it would be like all of a sudden everyone is gone, and that kind of kills the
fear.
whole MMO thing. Which I think that was this that said that, if I remember correctly. But I thought that was kind of funny because that is true. But to be honest, in our guild, there's so many people. It's kind of nice to not talk to the rest of our guild, to be honest, every once in a while. I mean, you talk all the time, Draven, but I very rarely even talk in guild chat because we have like 9,000 people or something.
There's approximately 8,000 characters in the guild. I will go in spurt. Like, I will either talk a ton in guild chat, like cracking jokes or helping or whatever, but there are times where I will go like more than a month and not say anything in guild chat ever.
Yeah, I very rarely do talk in guild chat. Scarlet talks in guild chat from time to time, though.
Yeah.
I do, and then I get really pissed off in guild chat, and then I hide guild chat for a while. I'm a very temperamental guildie, apparently, I think.
I've never hidden guild chat. I've hidden trade in general.
The worst I've
hidden
ever
guild
done.
Chat a few.
The worst I've ever done to someone in guild chat was put them on ignore.
I have done that.
And it always, if it was a smaller guild, there'd be no way you could do this because, let's say you have 20 people in the guild and that's it. Well, there goes, 1/5 of, or 5% of the possible conversation. Whereas in CTR, like we said, there's like 8,000 characters. Admittedly, they're not all at the same time. Some of them are all, and so on. There's so many people that you're probably not going to miss anything.
There's only 2 people in the guild that I've permanently muted, but there's one person who just asks the dumbest questions, and I don't even know how they play the game.
1 out of 8,000 is not bad. I'm just saying.
Yeah. So if it's is it a mage, Scarlet?
No.
Oh, jeez.
Okay.
We're gonna start.
Well, the
pointing
reason
people
I
out.
asked is because there is a new mage in the guild, and actually he's in.
No, this
if it's who I
person's been
think
in.
it would have been someone who has a tune in CTR and AIE both, and they're new. So them asking dumb questions is excusable.
No. This person's been in the guild since Siege of Orgrimmar and asking the dumbest questions since Siege of Orgrimmar, like since I came to CTR.
So this is why I don't talk in guild chat anymore, because Scarlet likes to call all my questions dumb.
No, like
ask better
seriously,
questions.
this person will sit in guild chat and go, "Why won't anybody take me raiding?
Yeah.
I want to go raiding."
Oh, I don't see that person either. Maybe I put them on ignore.
People.
I don't, just because I watch the chat and I'm just like, oh my goodness, you must be really.
I don't even have trade chat muted. On the rare instance that there's something going on that, that'll be fun, or that's a really good deal,
So you can
I will
people.
put up with it.
Yeah.
Well, that's all my non-CTR characters, but that's not the point.
All right, I've got a question for you guys. Scarlet, what was your weather like today?
In game or in real life?
I'm talking real life.
Uh,
Canada.
It was overcast in the morning, and then the sun came through, and it was really nice, and we sat in the park today. Why?
About what temperature was it?
28 degrees Celsius?
Okay, so Fahrenheit, what's that, like 60 something?
No, it's like 80 something. I'm Googling this. One
All right.
second.
Draven, what was your weather like today?
82.4.
Draven's weather was muted. Yes.
I actually answered the question. I said it was 82 for her, but
82. Okay, 82. Yeah, that's pretty high. What about you, Draven?
Oh, geez. I live in Ohio, and the saying here is if you don't like the weather, just wait 5 minutes.
Gotcha.
So we didn't have all 4 seasons, which does happen here. That's interesting. But it's been, for the past week, it's been really nice, and then, holy crap, thunderstorm, we lost power.
Okay, so similar weather in Florida. We did definitely hit mid-80s. We also had thunderstorms today. The reason I ask, Galv, especially, you're pointing this out, the Canadian weather part of the show, is that winter is coming. And no, Jaina is not a Dreadlord. She is apparently a Dead Ice Queen. That's right. Everyone is dead.
She's a White Walker.
She's a White Walker. And so
You know what
is
happened?
everyone else. What happened, Scarlet?
She was Arthas's lover, remember?
Yes.
So he just came back from the dead, haunted her, and made her his dead girlfriend.
And
That's my theory, and I'm
Thralls.
sticking to it.
And Calyx. And Kael'thas.
She
What
didn't
about all the
sleep
others?
with. She didn't sleep with Thrall. Thrall thought of her as a sister, the same as Taretha.
But now
Hey.
all these people are now dead. So does that mean Arthas went after them too? That's what he's asking.
No, he's talking about Jaina's boyfriends in WoW lore. He's not
I
talking
never
about
said
the Hearthstone
boyfriend.
characters.
He's pointing out the other Hearthstone characters.
No, Kael'thas and the other people are not in. He's just talking about WoW lore. Just trust me on that.
I'm nicely calling Jaina a bad name.
He's calling her a hole.
So as we trash Jaina, there was a new expansion for Hearthstone announced this week. Last week, something like that. Where we can't have the Lich King, so instead we will have everyone as a Lich. And
Excuse me, we get the Lich King.
so we can't have the Lich King as a regular normal character. So instead of that, everyone is dead, and they all basically work the same way, which I think is a horrible idea. But since I don't play the game all that much, Scarlet, why don't you tell us more?
It's awesome. You know how Jaraxxus replaces the Warlock character? How do you not know Jaraxxus?
You face Jaraxxus.
Oh, I know who that is. I didn't have any idea about him replacing a Warlock character. Because
Okay, so-
play.
Short version theory.
You used to.
In Hearthstone, there is a card named Jaraxxus. If you actually play him, he jumps up, covers over your character, and that is who your character becomes at that point. New health bar, new power, everything.
So basically, the new expansion, you get a hero card, and you get to be your twisted undead alter ego, and it gives you new hero powers. The hunter one, basically you can mutate 2 of your beasts together, which is really cool and scary. And I don't know the other ones, but everything looks pretty amazing. So it's kind of exciting.
So the first thing that someone has got to find out, can you create possibly a minion that you cannot summon?
Yes.
So it can get over
You-
10 mana cost?
No, it doesn't. The beast, what you're creating gets put on the board with your hero power, I think. But what you're creating
From what I heard,
is,
it had its own mana cost.
Okay, then no, it's not going to go over 10. But what you're creating is you pick a beast from this. So, like, say, for example, you take Gastropod, which is poisonous, and you take Savannah Highmane, which is the 6-drop. You stick those 2 together, you get a poisonous 6-drop. That's Death Rattle. You guys don't even know the cards I'm talking about, but Galv does. So
Yeah, I kind of know what you're like. I know the Highmane. Like I played
exactly,
that.
and Gastropod is poisonous, which means even if whatever touches it, like even if something is bigger than you, and if you throw your minion at it, and it normally wouldn't die, it's gonna insta die, because anything that touches this is going to just die.
Yeah.
That sounds
Some
so
really-
interesting.
It
It
actually
is.
would
It
be
really
interesting.
is.
I will freely admit, while I probably won't, the trailer for it and how they went through it,
We should have
made
played the
me-
trailer.
it made me want to play again, but not to the point that I probably will, because that means I have to go through what we are going in now, and I'm so far behind what we have now that it just
No,
won't.
that's the thing with the way the legendaries are going to work. It's going to be easier to get caught up. And right now, like I said, there's double gold. So you play one quest, you pretty much get equal value of one pack. And you log in, you have 3 quests. That's going to be at least 3 packs worth of gold that you can buy. You guys should play the trailer and just watch it. Seriously.
Oh, I've
You
watched
should
it.
just-
It's great. It's a great trailer.
Yeah, it's
bad the
great.
game doesn't play like the trailer looks.
The
It does.
the thing I found funny is they chose Jaina as the "I'm turning evil" sponsor of the trailer, and that got everyone like, oh god, maybe she really is evil in the other game. And some of the Hearthstone people were like, guys, we don't follow lore, so we can
Discover
do whatever we
Mechanic
want.
is awesome. Just saying.
I'm sorry.
Discover Mechanic is awesome. I like it.
Yeah, that's how the hunter thing works. Gal was like, I'm going to throw these 2 together. I was like, yeah, if you discover them.
All right. So
Yeah, but you can.
speaking of dead people who are not really dead, Draven, did you play some Stukov in live for HOTS this week?
Yes, I played a lot of him. In fact, I might have, as a healer, he's a support healer class in the game. I had over 130k siege damage, which is buildings and minions and stuff like that. And I would have to look, but it was over 100, like it was like 80k, something like that. Hero damage in one match. As a healer, he's not overpowered at all because people don't know how to play against him.
Well, how many
No,
people,
he's really overpowered.
more importantly, did you give the long arm to?
That one game, 5.
Impressive.
It wasn't all the way across the map, and gates apparently don't count as structures. Like they'll pass through their own gate, I guess.
Well,
But
that's
they-
actually a really good question. So like you're saying, if you long arm someone and you happen to point it perfectly, they'll go right through their gate, and the arm will just keep pushing them all the way through their gate.
yeah, I got a couple decently long arms for my ult usage. I didn't get any that were all the way across the map because that is bloody hard. But that's the definite go-to on every single build is the massive shove, the long arm. It doesn't have a huge range on it, but if you hit it, it just keeps going
Yeah.
until something stops it. But
Oh, very cool.
the best ability he has, I am not even kidding, if you don't need to actively heal, your E ability, which is that he shoves his hand in the ground and that little thing comes up and it silences, that is the most... I don't want to play against it, but there are obvious counters.
So there was some other big news that happened kind of last week, this week-ish, right before your big spoilery never really happened show last week.
No idea what you're talking about.
That's okay, because I'm going to tell you. All right, so this guy who we've been talking about for like forever and graces the cover of our show this week, the most amazing, most awesome Terry Crews, Mr. We Want You to Be Doomfist, go visit Blizzard, and he's definitely going to be Doomfist. Turns out
He's not.
he's not Doomfist. Instead, it's this guy, and it's a totally different dude doing his voice. So they gave us the fist, but they also kind of gave us the finger. And I don't really know how I feel about that because I was ready for some Terry Crews. I'm kind of mad.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
So I covered this in a couple different conversations. I'm upset that it's not Terry Crews. I still say if Blizzard knew it wasn't going to be Terry Crews, they should have told us because they knew everyone was waiting on it. That being said, the voice actor they got did a great job.
I agree, but this voice actor they got could have done the best job of all time ever of all voice actors in any video game. And if it's not Terry Crews, when you've got thousands and thousands of people who want it to be Terry Crews, people are not going to be happy.
Yeah, like I said, he did a great job, but he's not Terry Crews, so I'm not. Well, I'm going to wait and see. I'm going to, hold back my on it, the venom.
I'm spilling salt
Hatred.
all over the place. I'm not waiting.
Yeah. So I'm gonna wait and see. There might be some voice lines in there that, all that kind of thing. But with the backstory they gave the Doomfist character in the game, it makes sense that they didn't use Terry Crews because of accents and stuff like that.
I have another problem with this. That fist is not the fist that was in the cinematic, and it's not the fist that was in the little cage on the map. Please explain to me what's going on with this fist.
So, this is Doomfist Mark III. He is the third official Doomfist in the Overwatch universe. By that, I mean there was a Doomfist, that was probably the Gauntlet, the original Doomfist, and I guess Doomfist is a title, I guess, because the guy who became Doomfist after killed the original, thus becoming the new Doomfist. He made some modifications, etc., and so forth. Got a different glove. I don't know. This is the third version.
Okay.
And
so why?
So
did he
this is
go
not
and
that same
break-
glove.
Why did he break the glove out of the cart on the map though? If in Mumbai,
maybe
or whatever?
he needed it for a blueprint. Maybe he didn't have access to the actual
technology.
the technology out of it or something.
And does that mean that the cinematic for the game is supposed to be way before this guy came around?
This,
Because then it wasn't on the card; it was in some kind of museum.
yeah, it was in a museum. I think that was the original Gauntlet. Alessandro here in chat is pointing out the guy who used that Gauntlet was apparently supposed to be the second Doomfist, not the first like I thought. So this is like, it had to have been this guy after that point killed the Doomfist, the other one. And he killed the one prior to him, took over the name, etc. and so forth. And this is just, he upgraded the fist and the arm and all that.
So the other thing that I'm going to say about this is if you looked, there was a couple of different things online that were showing some of the skins for him, and some of them are pretty cool, even though they don't know the difference between a cheetah and a leopard. Some of them were actually kind of cool, except for the way that he stands. He's holding the fist in a very adult manner. When you look at them,
What?
how can I say this? So if you were to pretend the fist was a different body part, that's how he's holding it when you preview some of the skins. Scarlett apparently hasn't seen these yet. But Draven, you said something about Rule 34.
Yeah.
I think it already happened.
Well, of course it's going to happen from day one. It probably happened before he even came out.
Yeah.
No,
But-
as soon as it's possible to use this character in said rule, that's when stuff got started to be made.
Yeah.
It's by now, with it being a week later, almost half a week, I'm sure there's at least the start of it. It just takes a little while for stuff to get finalized and put out finally. But yeah,
I don't see it, and I usually have the pervious mind.
All right. Well, if you happen to be a Patreon, I will link a couple of the pictures I was talking about this week in Discord. So you can see what I'm talking about. Adult eyes only. Not really, but kind of. There was other stuff for Overwatch this week, though, including Diva.
Denied.
Yeah, she got new voice lines for denying Overwatch ultimates.
D9.
Yeah.
Best thing in Overwatch so far that has been changed. I love the idea of this. It fits your character. And okay, fine. There are some people that are kind of upset that her defensive matrix is as powerful as it is. I don't care. This is amazing. Like, you'll get McCree, it's high noon, and she blocks it. I think your clock's off. Or something like that.
That's awesome.
It's literally, she's dissing the person who did the ult. And it's just, it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Are they going to do this with all the characters?
I seriously doubt it, because she's the only one that can actually block an ultimate. There are things that you can stop ultimates, but she's the only one that can actually block them.
Ryan can.
Reinhardt?
Yeah. His shield can block a diva bomb.
Yeah, but it's still going off, and it's still doing damage to his shield, and then even him if it gets through. Her defensive matrix literally stops that damage.
By the way,
Famous.
I just kind of gave a little sneak peek on what I was talking about. So
That
if you're
doesn't-
watching the video, you'll see what I was talking
I don't see it, Theory.
about. You don't see it.
I don't
I mean,
see it.
I can see what you mean, but at the same time, it doesn't look that way to me.
Okay, chat room and people who are watching the video. You tell us if you think this looks a little phallic to you, because it definitely does to me. And this is the pose that he's in all of the previews of his different skins. You can decide. And
I need to hear. I know I need to hear chat room.
All right, so there is even more Overwatch news this week.
Overwatch overload.
Yes, little Tokidoki action. What are they doing, Draven? What are they adding?
Well, basically, this is obviously it's a Japanese company who they do these cute big heads and giant eyes. That's just the way they do it, and it's just more merchandise, basically. Short version, there's a hat that looks really cool, and there's a notebook, and there's a bag, like a purse type thing that is big enough to fit 3 of those weird onion things that Overwatch has.
The
big enough.
Pachimaru?
Yeah, those. They're weird onion things. But it's big enough to hold at least 3 of them, and then some. And then there's more stuff coming and all that. It was just one of those things I saw. I was like, oh, that's actually kind of cool. And while they're not anything that I personally am going to buy, because I don't wear hats, and that was the one thing that I might have gotten. They were cool, and I just thought it would be kind of cool to, hey, someone might like this.
So for anyone who's paying attention, our chat room is about mixed bag on whether or not it looks phallic or not. But we'll continue
One
on.
person said yes, 2 people said no.
And let's be fair, Galv thinks everything is phallic.
I don't really know how to take that one. We'll see how Galv takes that one.
Damn.
So then the last, actually not even last, but the next thing for Overwatch, something pretty cool that we've talked about before. Man at Arms Reforged made the hook for Roadhog, which is pretty cool. If you've never watched these before, you should check it out. They actually show the process that they use to make the different weapons, and this is one of the first times the weapon wasn't some type of a sword or dagger. So it's kind of neat to watch them make these. They're usually relatively short. They're on YouTube, and it is pretty darn neat, if you ask me. Did you guys check out the video?
I saw it.
It
And I
was
thought it was
amazing.
I always like watching these, even when they're not Overwatch or Blizzard related, just because I like to see the process of it being made.
Me too.
I don't understand why I do, but it's just kind of interesting to me. But I found it hysterical that only one guy tried to use it properly, like as it would be in game, and he couldn't do it. Like he was spinning it around like you would have to do instead of tossing it straight out. And then he realized it wasn't going to work, so he had to slow it down because he didn't want to kill somebody, including himself.
Yeah.
And then everyone was just using it as like an actual, I'm going to hold it in my hand and just hit stuff with it, which you would have to do with something like that. So, I mean, it's definitely a decorative piece, and it will not ever possibly work the way it would in game. But
Galv called it a man catcher in chat.
Did you guys see at the end of the video the girl cosplayer?
She's
Who
in it
dressed
a
as
lot,
Roadhog?
actually, yeah.
I've seen her on Facebook before. Her pictures are amazing. She handed that costume. It's really, really cool.
Cool.
I want them to do a Junkrat tire.
Oh my god, that'd be awesome. Yes, that would be neat. They need to do that. However, I don't know how they'll make it roll.
So speaking of Rule 34, there was a debate going on Reddit.
Look at Dre.
Because
I don't like
some-
that we got there from the Junkrat tire comment.
So there was a debate going on Reddit whether people find Junkrat attractive or not. I think he would be pretty hot.
Okay, so he's a
Standing
guy,
up
so
straight.
he's a guy, so I don't find him attractive.
Okay, so
That-
Alessander asked what Rule 34 is. Maybe you should explain so people know what Rule 34 is.
Rule 34 is, Alessander, if it exists on the internet, there is going to be adult... Oops, I dropped something. There's going...
She dropped
If
something
it
so
exists,
hard
there's
it
porn
lost
of
her
it that
camera.
exists also.
Your camera stopped working with whatever
I
you just
saw
dropped.
that. It was a tennis ball. So anyways, basically that there exists adult entertainment or pictures or items about it. What do I do about the camera? Should I turn the camera off and then back on again?
Yes. It will screw things up.
And
That's
Alessander,
okay.
yes, exactly like that. The internet is for porn, yeah.
All right,
If
we'll
it
move
exists,
on.
there's porn of it.
So, Mr. JCap came on the scene again, and he wrote a very long post in the forums, which we are not going to read because it's not one, it's not two, it's not three, it is 4 pages long. So if you haven't read this, you should go read this. What did you guys think about this release of massive amount of information from Mr. JCap?
Well, to TLDR it, game's fairly balanced. Yes, there's a couple things that aren't working 100% the way we'd like, but it's in terms of overall balance, nothing is overtly broken at the moment. I disagree, sir. May.
Well, what he actually
May's
said
not
is
that
the
broken.
most controversial thing I'll say here, hopefully, is that I believe the game is currently balanced. And compared to what? Because unless you have a comparison, that doesn't mean anything. So,
Well, okay, so when he says balance, he doesn't mean, like, say, I can take any character and go up against anyone else. It means equal skill from the players. If I can play the counter to whatever they're playing, I should be able to win that fight. Every hero has a counter.
Yeah.
And that is fairly true. There are a couple heroes that have less counters than others, and sometimes that counter is themselves, which no, bad. But May is the one thing she does too. I still say she does too much damage for how much control she has. That's just my own personal opinion. Admittedly, she's not getting all that much pro play time and all that, but yeah, basically the game is more or less fairly balanced. Again, equal skill level from the players, being able to counter each other, that kind of thing. And for the most part, I agree. Like with the obvious exception of May that I brought up, I'm terrible against Genjis, but that's a me thing and a lot of other people too. And that just means that Genji's harder to play, so he should be hard to counter.
That is
You
true.
know, you know,
That is true.
So, while I don't like going up against Genjis, I don't think he's grossly overpowered. Slightly, okay, maybe, but that's going to happen. You're not ever going to be 100% perfect. So, from what he's saying, yeah, the game is balanced.
Well,
I
would
will-
agree with him. Given what kind of game it is, I think it's pretty well balanced. There's just certain matchups you don't want to walk into, and a lot of them have to do with being against Mei.
Well, I mean, it's not even. I mean, for our level of play, sure, but you go up to the pros and they look at me like, that's not a threat.
Hmm.
So it just depends on what your level of play is,
Yeah.
what the counters are, and how good everyone is, and all that. But again, that is a let's say me versus you theory. If we are equally skilled, which we're not, you're probably much better than I am, because it really wouldn't take all that much.
On 3 characters, maybe.
Okay, but still, there's 3 characters. There are certain matchups that you'll destroy me relatively easily, and there are others that I should be able to destroy you, presuming we are the same level of play and we're on characters that can do it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you, like as Galf said in chat, if I'm playing Pharah and you're playing Junkrat, guess who's going to win? 9 times out of 10, I'm going to kick the crap out of you because I'm playing Pharah.
Yeah, because I can't.
Because
really
you
even
can't
reach
hit
it.
me.
Yeah.
You can't hit me up that. Yeah. And I can just shoot down. So there are things like that. You don't want to get into those bad matchups.
All right. So, to move on from that, if you haven't read it, definitely check it out. It's definitely worth reading. I mean, honestly, I like everything that he puts out. He's a great ambassador for his game, in my opinion, and he should put more stuff out.
Did you guys see the stats on the win rates for each map on Quick Play that he put out?
No.
It's kind of interesting. Most are around the 50-50 mark. It's like 49.8, 50.1, etc. But most are pretty much equal in Quick Play, which I thought was interesting because to me sometimes it feels like certain ones tend to lose more, but apparently not really.
Yeah, I mean, that says an awful lot right there. But Quick Play, again, is not pro level. It would be interesting to see those for competitive. But we did talk about...
Competitive is a whole nother ball of worms.
True. We did talk about another really big thing for Overwatch, an Overwatch League. If you remember a few shows back, there was some rumors about the price tag to be involved in the Overwatch League from an owner of a team standpoint, costing upwards of $20 million. Well, come to find out, that was true. It was millions, as Draven likes, millions. So this article, which Scubasaurus wrote on July 6th, talks about it, and it actually says it was rumored that spots were going for up to $20 million. It did not seem to deter organizations coming out of California. $20 million price has turned out to be true, as both NRG and Immortals will be paying this price over time for their premium locations. Fortunately, each team have both secured investments to help with the cost. So
they've got years to pay for it.
Yeah. So they're not having to pay for it completely up front, which is totally cool. Whatever, you can finance anything. That's how life works now. However, it still seems like a pretty large price tag for a league that hasn't even had a game or a show or a draft or an anything really yet.
There's a world championship going on right now.
But it's not really for the
It's not the same
Overwatch
thing.
League, though. It's not the same thing. There's going to be these
This is like an
underleagues.
This is kind of
Yeah.
a quote unquote all-star match.
Right. And the under leagues that are supposed to be feeding the Overwatch League are starting to kick up and get going, which are what some of the tournaments that are going around the leagues are right now. And a couple other people, podcasts that I listened to on the way back and forth to Louisiana, were talking about this and what it actually means. But it just seems like a massive amount of money to kind of get this going. But you know what? When you're trying to start something this big, they need massive amount of money to really put behind it to make it get off the ground and get going. So I guess it kind of makes sense.
Yeah. Also, these are the big locations: L.A., San Francisco, Boston, New York,
Yep.
Seoul, Korea, Shanghai, China. These are huge areas.
Yep.
There's not a Canadian one. That's interesting.
Not yet.
I
Not
bet
yet.
you I mean, Toronto would make sense. You know, there's a couple other big Canadian cities that would make sense. I would be kind of surprised if there wasn't at least one Canadian city.
Yeah, I seriously doubt every venue, every area is going to be the $20 million mark.
Right.
Like Cleveland. There ain't $20 million in Cleveland.
I'm a little surprised that there's not a Miami on that list yet, though.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, these are just the first set. We're almost guaranteed to get more. And you get, like, LA, I would not be surprised if they had even 2 teams.
Yeah.
Las Vegas, I'm fully expecting a team. Seattle, I'm expecting to have a team.
Vegas is kind of weird, though. I mean, it would make sense for Vegas to have a team, but Vegas.
Well, they've already got a team living there.
Well, your Vegas fans. Put it this way: your fan base in Vegas is made up usually of people who are only there for a few days at a time and then go somewhere else. So, like every other major city, your fan base lives in that city, for the most part. Most of it, the largest percent of it, lives either in or close to that city. Even like your crazy huge New York level teams. Yes, there's New York fans all over the damn country, but the real New York fans who go to the games and spend tons of money, those ones mostly live in the greater New York area. People buy hats all over the place, whatever. Bad example. Go ahead.
Is there any like non-esports or sports teams in Las Vegas right now?
They are moving an NFL team there, starting next year, maybe the year after, depending upon when their stadium is built. Is it the Raiders? Raiders moving there yet. Yep.
Okay.
I don't know if they start playing there this year or if it's next year, but they're building a stadium near the Strip in Vegas for the Raiders to move there. And they're going to be the first big team. But there has been some like farm team, like D-League type basketball teams there.
Some under leagues.
Right. But this is the first pro team to actually be in Vegas.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. NHL expansion team will be there next year. Thanks, Eli. Didn't even know you were here. Welcome.
What's an expansion team?
Basically a team that's being added. So it's actually a pro team. So they're a full-fledged professional team, but it's a new team. It's not a team that moved.
Oh, gotcha. That's cool.
That is very cool, actually. I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, there are some esports teams out of Vegas. I can't name any off the top of my head, pro-wise, but I know there's at least 1 or 2. And they usually do fairly well, but they're not like how we're understanding the Overwatch League to work, where it's like actual physical, like football, basketball, etc., where we have home teams and stuff like that instead of, we're just playing online and, we'll have tournaments at so-and-so location every so often. Mm-hmm. From what we're understanding of the Overwatch League, they want it like the actual NFL where there's a home team and a visiting team and that kind of. And I still don't know how it's all going to work. And I still maintain that if it's just Team A versus Team B, I don't care what the teams are.
Yeah.
If it's only like an hour and a half to 2 hours, it's not worth my time to go anywhere that would be worthwhile. Because it's Cleveland or Columbus, 2 hours drive north, 3 hours drive southwest. South then west, because of where I'm at. Yes, I almost gave away where I live. It's weird with the roads here.
I don't know if anybody was thinking that except you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you drive directly from Cleveland to Columbus, it is a 2 hour drive. However, where I live, it is 2+ hours to each one.
I mean, technically, if you take 2 hours in the city I live in, you could still be in the same city because if you're taking public transportation.
Round and circles.
Yeah, I'm talking highway.
I know.
So, moving on from where Draven lives. He does not live in San Diego. However, the San Diego Comic-Con is coming, and Blizzard will have a setup, gear shop, and merchandise premiering there. This was actually put out by Perculia. She actually gathered all this information. In addition to that, there's actually a picture of a couple of the things that I'm going to show you as well. However, on this page, one thing I thought was pretty cool is they're going to have a Doomfist t-shirt at this Comic-Con, which will be kind of cool. I'm sure a lot of people will want one of those. And a carbon fiber Diva Funko figure. I would like to have that, please. Blizzard, can I have one of those? But here's a couple of the other things.
It'll be in the gear store.
Do you think so? I hope so, because I want one. This Diva in the top left-hand corner of your screen is pretty neat because there's a little itty-bitty Diva that goes into the mech. I don't know for sure if this is the carbon fiber one or not, but if it is, it's freaking awesome. And there's a little Soldier 76, and then, of course, you've got, I guess that's Arthas, weird-looking little Arthas, and a very cool little Bastion. And then this t-shirt, is this the Tokidoki t-shirt?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, which is pretty cool.
I want the little Bastion, just saying.
Yeah, the little Bastion's
it's not.
cute.
It's clearly not meant for guys, that shirt. But if they have a guy's version of that shirt, that would actually be one that I might consider getting at some point.
Yeah. Yep. So that's cool stuff. I mean, I still love all my Blizzard Funko figures. So, but a Diva with the mech, that the Diva actually goes in the mech, that's freaking cool. It would definitely make me want to open the box.
What I want to know, though, does the mech open from the front where the window is, from the back where she would actually jump out?
It's very hard to tell that from the picture, but yeah.
Yes, I know.
Either way,
that's why because I looked. It didn't say opens from the back or opens from the front. It just says the picture. I want to know which way it opens.
Yeah.
I'm guessing probably it's the little glass door in the front, because that would just be the easiest. But I kind of wanted to open from the back.
So that brings us to the end of most of our non-WoW content. Did you guys have anything else that's not WoW related that you wanted to talk about?
Wow.
Okay.
Wow and wow.
So let's jump into some World of Warcraft.
World of Warcraft.
So yeah.
Hey, Theory.
Uh-huh.
Theory.
Yeah.
Do you like the Legion expansion so far?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know who the main character of the Legion expansion is?
Isn't it me?
No.
But I'm the hero.
No. You're just some schlub. Same as the rest of us.
But
Damn.
they call us hero all the time.
Yeah, they call us hero because they want us to actually do their dirty work. Like, hey, go clear out this cave of random goofiness.
So you
Go
mean,
pick up these gold coins I dropped because of reasons.
So you mean
But
like
Hey,
who
they
killed
make
Gul'dan?
like
They
at,
make us
like at,
poop rainbows, okay?
like at work when they make me take the trash out, they should be calling me hero? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Wouldn't you
don't-
feel better about yourself?
I don't know if they know this. I'm gonna have to let them know that this is a thing. But
But
you're talking
in game,
about
who killed Gul'dan?
I did. No, wait.
No, who actually killed Gul'dan?
I don't
I'll
know.
give you a hint. It's on screen
The-
right now.
The
Oh, that
sexy
guy.
one.
That guy with
The
the, skull in
sexy
his
one
hands.
did. Yes.
Yeah.
He's not sexy.
He is.
Not at all.
Yes.
Anyway,
he
so obviously we're talking about Illidan. But no,
Yeah,
he
Illidan.
is not sexy in any kind of way.
Blizzard decided this is the Illidan expansion. So they gave us Illidan in our expansion about Illidan. So we could have more Illidan with our Illidan.
So I'm so tempted to spoil some stuff right now, but I am totally not going to do it. I am holding my tongue on the Illidan conversation. But this week, Black Temple came out in Time Walking, and our Chickens raid, which I joined about halfway through-ish, kind of, was kind of being, I wouldn't say led, but directed by someone who doesn't usually direct Chickens raids. That's right. Mr. Draven, right up there, was actually giving us strats for the fights with the chickens this week. And not only did we do well, I don't think we wiped until we got to Illidan. At least not for the part that I was there. Nice job, sir.
I missed the first part of the raid because my Heroes podcast had a 2-hour recording, so I was a little late. That being said, I had the stream on and I was typing in Bartholomew in his chat. Here's a
he
pro
was
tip.
typing in barf.
I was typing the word barf over and over, and he was like, "What are you talking Spaceballs for me for?" No, I was like, "Hey, you might want to do this for the trash here, or you might want to try this." I didn't see them wipe, but I wasn't looking nonstop, but I was throwing strats at them and all that.
Howland just completely threw shade on you that you can handle the strats,
Yeah.
but don't ask you to do the loot, and that totally is appropriate.
Accurate, yeah.
Yep.
But once I got there, the only thing that I really needed to do strat wise, outside of hey, this part's a gauntlet, let's run through it and then get to the ramp for the Reliquary of Souls, but don't get to the bottom of the ramp because that'll aggro the boss. But don't stay near the top because that'll keep spawning the trash in front. And it was just other than that, the only real direction I gave was, hey, we're at Illidan. This is what we got to do, and I literally TLDR'd it.
Yeah.
Because
was it a 2-shot or a 3-shot?
I think it was 3.
Yeah.
Three
So
or-
I didn't do BT when it was current. I did it, with like 8 people when it was not current, and then with 3 people, and then with just me hundreds of times later trying to get my Warglaives. But I never really did it when it was active, so it was kind of nice to get in there again. I think it's kind of funny that so many groups are having so much trouble with it, though. Because, I mean,
they're
let's
not
be
used
honest.
to doing mechanics and time walking.
Let's be honest. The Chickens raid that you and I both go to every week, there is some really high-quality players, but
I
mechanics...
won't say every week because I'm not there every week, but
Well, most weeks. Mechanics are not the forte of the Chickens raid. It's just not. It's pretty much overpower everything and hope we can survive. That's how the Chickens raids generally work. Kara does an amazing job trying to tell everybody how to do everything, but that's not how it usually happens. Muzi usually pulls early, and we don't have a counter, and crazy stuff happens, and Howland, when he's there, or Barf, has to overheal everyone that screws up the mechanics. That's pretty much how the Chickens raids go, and we're very successful in that, and I'm not trying to throw shade at all. They reach their goal every tier that I've ever raided with them, so again, no shade at all. But we had 0 problems, and then 3-shot Illidan. I was watching Brutal on a stream, which may or may not have been with viewers. I don't know. They were struggling on Illidan. I don't even know how many times. It was this evening. Coltrane was there.
Viewers.
His sister was there. And they were struggling hardcore to the point where Brutal was getting angry because they couldn't down Illidan.
Okay, and for those of you who don't know Brutal is one of the nicest guys.
Yes.
If you hear him raise his voice, something's wrong. For a long time.
Yep.
And as soon as I saw the tanks,
Yeah.
I never heard of their names. I'm not going to repeat their names, but there was one that did not understand what getting in Discord meant. They were not in the voice chat for the first first 4 pulls, and they finally realized, oh, they're not here. Let's get them in here. Well, no, they're in Discord. They're just not in voice. So they were like, okay, you have to get in voice. And then even then, they just did not understand. Like, I've done this before. I don't understand what's going on. I was like, okay, you did this when you overpowered it.
Maybe they're not the best example. Maybe that little watching was not the best example. But they're not the abnormal thing. Our 3-shot full clear easy run is the abnormal thing from what I'm hearing. I'm hearing that people are actually having issues in there, and we had like none.
Okay, so here's what I found from the multiple runs that I have done and talked to people about. Illidan seems to be nearly immune to most taunts. There are a few that work, but for the most part, he's immune. People are pulling way more trash, like Galv just said in chat. People are pulling way more trash than they can survive because they think it's like LFR.
And ignoring
because
mechanics,
the go mindset is catching people up. I kind of
and it does not work that way. It does not work that way in Black Temple. But with Illidan specifically, there are literally 3 mechanics you have to deal with. Well, and there's another one if you're a tank. There's the sheer ability, which you need an active mitigation for, or you need to just have enough health and really good healers. but it nearly one-shot you otherwise. So there's that. There's get him out of the fire, move him. There's the parasites, which you have to kill very quickly. They will overrun your raid. And then there's the one that I forgot, which was the big fire elementals that have to stay near. They have to stay near, but they can't stay in the fire. And I forgot about that part, and that caused a wipe. And other than that, once we got the parasites down, which was the first one that we had an issue with, then the whole fire elemental, which was my fault.
The second one, yeah, because they one-shot us because they ran across the room to someone who wasn't stacking and then came back to us and had the crazy buff and just destroyed us. Yeah.
And then after that, we just had, we just have to survive. And once we got those two things down, plus the tank stuff, which, just move slow, 2 attempts, maybe one shot afterwards.
Yeah.
But once we got that, it was easy because the mechanics are not hard. They just have to be done. They are more important.
Yep.
And it was, other than that, there is no hard fight. Like chickens actually did the council fight right in front of it. Wrong. Mm-hmm. We did the overpower thing. We weren't supposed to keep all 3 of them together and then the other one out. We were supposed to actually separate all 4.
Well, with the weird taunting stuff, which I didn't really have a problem because I was monk tanking and I taunted several things, including that fight. I taunted the paladin out of the group and he came to me. But a lot of other people are saying that taunts just don't work in there. And it's not all taunts. There's some taunts that don't work, and I think there's some bosses that taunts don't work. But like that fight is an example of taunt definitely worked, because otherwise I wouldn't have got the paladin out of the group of 4.
Yeah, so a lot of it comes down to, I think, Death Knights, Demon Hunters, and Monks. Their taunts work almost nonstop. And then if you look at it, none of those classes existed in Black Temple.
Ah, interesting. Okay.
So I'm thinking that's what that is. Not 100%. They just didn't do that.
Interesting.
For the most part, those taunts, Gal was saying, no, that's not how it's working. But for the most part, those are working.
Because didn't Yuda say he had problems?
Yuda said something. Galv was the main one that was telling us that DK taunts were not working. Yeah.
Oh,
but then, maybe it was the other way around, where they weren't working at all and some of the other ones were.
I don't know. I ran with a paladin tank. It was Habant tanking with me on my monk. And we didn't have any issues. There was a couple of times where we pulled off of each other, just normal threat pulling off of each other, but that happens. And in chicken raids, unless it's an issue, we just, whatever, keep going. But, Gal was saying that the taunt, meaning this ability focuses on you for 3 seconds, doesn't work, which, what is that called for DK? Is it, it's not Torment. I don't remember what it's actually called.
No, that's not it.
Torment is the Demon Hunter.
Right. Yeah, I don't remember what the Death Knight one's actually called. But I know for a fact it worked on the monk. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. So
Dark Command. That's it. Yeah. But I had a lot of fun. It was great. I did get the achievement because I do have the Warglaives on my monk. I got the achievement, so now I can use the Warglaives actually on my Demon Hunter, which is cool.
Okay, and I just want to throw a PSA for that. Yes, they look weird. Yes, Blizzard knows. Yes, it's on purpose.
They said it was to fix.
When they're sheathed on your back.
Apparently they were backwards before, so they fixed it.
I don't necessarily agree with that. It looks weird. I just, whatever.
It makes sense physically if you're pulling the weapons. That's how it would have to be, but
it just looks weird.
I
don't think it looks bad,
it looks
though.
weird.
It just kind of looks like you have wings. You're like a demon hunter with wings because they kind of come out at an angle.
Honestly, I saw a thing on Twitter earlier today. If you put them, like your demon hunter with the new glaives on your back, side by side with you're looking at the back of the demon hunter, and you put that next to a picture of a fidget spinner that is neon green, it looks really similar, and people are like, "Now I can't unsee it." I thought that was kind of funny.
Just made everybody else see it too.
I know. I'll find it and link it.
I know, because I'm horrible. That in everyone's mind.
I am a horrible person. That's why. That being said, my PSA extends to they also work on the tank spec weapon, because those are considered Warglaives too.
even though they're fist weapons.
Yeah.
So, cool stuff. Definitely happy with it. Did you have a chance to run BT Scarlet?
I have not yet. I have decided I don't want to pug it, so I will just go with our raid on Monday.
Cool. On Monday, awesome.
And apparently I get to lead that one too.
Well, you at least get to strategize that one, because to be perfectly honest, I didn't pay attention to any of it until we got to Illidan.
So I didn't. Yeah. For the most part, there's only a couple things that you'd actually do have to pay attention to. But I didn't run it at level 70. The closest I could say I ran it was level 80. And that was one of the reasons why I don't turn trade chat off. There was a trade chat troll on the server I was at. I'll call him Johnny, because that's what he went by.
Johnny Awesome?
No, not Johnny Awesome.
Bravo.
Well, I think one of his characters was actually named Johnny Bravo. But he would troll trade chat all the time, all this other stuff. But he would also buy runs through level 70 stuff, like Black Temple stuff, for like 5,000 gold per person.
Oh, damn.
That's a lot.
During Wrath, that was a ton.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I left trade chat on because I was like, that's an easy. And it wasn't just Black Temple, it was Sunwell and stuff like that. He wanted specific gear. If certain stuff dropped, he got it, but otherwise it was open.
Yeah.
And that was fine because he's paying for the run.
Yeah,
No problem there. Yeah. So we'd get a couple people. I had never actually seen Demon Phase Illidan before that, and he's like, I want to see it. I've never seen it before. I just want to see it. So we saw it. It's like, okay, go ahead and kill him now. So we killed him. And, it was one of those things. It didn't, yeah. And that was the level 80 was the first time I saw Black Temple all the way through. So
So, you guys remember, I think it was it not BlizzCon, but it was almost a year ago when there was a couple of teams that were racing through Mythic Plus dungeons, like about the same time Mythic Plus dungeons came out. And I believe one of the teams
that
got
thing
banned.
that was a race that everyone thought was live but ended up being pre-recorded.
Yeah.
And then there was an issue somewhere that someone like cheated and got disqualified or something, and then it wasn't live anyway, so no one cared about it anyway.
Right, that one, exactly. Remember that?
No, not at all.
Well, good thing is, it's kind of making a bit of a comeback, and I didn't apparently save the screens for this, so we're just going to talk about it, because I didn't. There you go. Epic fail.
Fail.
We're talking about it. So, apparently, Blizzard is taking the whole Mythic Plus thing seriously, and there is a open, which I'm going to find the thing so I can actually talk about it correctly here. Bear with me one sec. Where it's an invitational where you can get a team and actually do some Mythic Pluses to qualify for this. And once I actually get it on the screen here, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. But Draven, why don't you talk about it while I'm bringing the image up?
Okay, so I will TLDR this also. Basically, Blizzard said, hey, we heard you like Mythic Dungeons. Hey, I heard you like prize money. Hey, why don't you sign up, go through it, get as high as you can, as fast as you can, to try to qualify for this little tournament thing, and then we're going to set your gear, we're going to set the level, and we're going to see who can do what.
Very cool.
And that's pretty much what they're doing. You have to be able to get a certain level of Mythic Dungeon before you're even qualified. I think 15. I think if you barely clear 15, you're not going to get in. You need to get. At this point, you probably need to be up in the 20s.
Yeah, it's got to be people who can pretty much do close to 20s right now with the current way in order to really compete. This is kind of the breakdown. So the Proving Grounds is July 25th to August 8th. During that time, teams will be aiming to secure invitation to the top 32 teams. And what you do is you use the form, which is actually linked right on their page. You can click on it in order to submit your score doing these. And you do this actually on August 8th. If you do it ahead of time, it doesn't count. It's got to be on August 8th for the submitting of the score. Of those scores, they're going to pick the top 32 teams for the big showdown, which starts in September. And the contenders will compete in the Keystone Dungeons Invitational, which are all set up by Blizzard. The rules, the Keystone levels and affixes for that will be determined by Blizzard, so they haven't told you yet what it's going to be. First match of each series will take place in a dungeon predetermined by Blizzard. I'm guessing what's going to happen is that whatever key you get takes you to whatever the next dungeon is. They'll just decide the first one and it'll go from there. And then once the final 8 regional teams have been determined, they'll move to a single elimination bracket. Well, they'll go head-to-head, which is pretty sweet. So this is kind of a way for them to bring PvE into BlizzCon, which is pretty cool. I definitely am happy that they're doing this. We've been wanting this for a while, not just arena, but actually PvE content at BlizzCon. So I don't know about you guys, but I think it's pretty cool.
And
Well,
this is
I've
also.
been-
Go ahead.
I was gonna say the last 2 BlizzCons haven't had any races like mythic boss races or anything. I like watching that part, so I agree with this. I think it'll be cool.
Yeah, I think it's neat.
Yeah.
And it's
This
same
is
eye
also a
levels
way
in
to-
watched environment, so I
Yeah.
like it. Like
I think
Tyron said.
what happened was Blizzard realized how much money they were spending on getting 2 raid teams, at least as many as they could, to BlizzCon for the
Yeah.
race, where they could get even more people for a 5-man event, and maybe even have a couple teams might even have a 6-man. They might even have to pay for it. Who knows? For like a sub or something.
Yeah, it's
But-
pretty cool. I mean, and like Galv just said, if this goes well and people actually pay attention and, give it some viewership, maybe this will stretch into a real world first thing down the road. If they see
That's
that this
true.
is going well and they actually have a race where they control the eye levels and have a watched environment where people can't do, exploits and things like that, it could actually, bring some actual excitement back to it. Because, I mean, to be honest, right now, it's still exciting for me, but I definitely think I'm in the minority as far as the people who are paying attention to the World First Race goes.
It would be cooler if we could watch it, but I understand why we can't, because obviously, to make sure that people still keep their advantage and whatnot. But it's just right now, it's just, go check this website, see if there's something been released. Oh, no, okay, I'll check tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because most who are in the race aren't streaming, and there's a couple who are streaming, but it's not between the very top 2 contenders. So again, it still is just like, it's cool to see,
So,
and it's fights that
I
we'll
have a-
never see, but
I have a question for you, Theory.
Mhm.
And we since we all know that Sloot is streaming Progression, last I saw they were on Avatar.
Are they on Avatar? I don't know if they're on Avatar.
yeah, they're on Avatar. I saw them.
Okay.
Yeah, so last I saw they were there. What would do you think it would be A, funny, and B, just kind of ironic if they ended up winning? Because at this point, everyone is saying pretty much that KJ is unkillable on Mythic. Which, of course, they said the same thing about Avatar until Method did it. But they're like everyone is saying KJ is not killable on Mythic right now. So is it possible that once Blizzard goes and fix it, Sloot and his group just happen to get in there and get a lucky pull before St. Method does?
I think it would be great. I mean, don't get me wrong. I would be all for that. I think it would be awesome. It would add some intrigue to it. All the people who are saying there's really a 2-person race between Exorcist and Method, all those people would basically have to shut up, and now there would be a third team that was King of the Mountain. Do I think it's going to happen? I don't know, because I mean, even their team, which is way more serious than any team I've ever been on, is not going at it in a as soon as the servers come up we're raiding kind of a fashion. I don't believe so. But I will tell you this, they are doing some weird things like stacking classes. Iron just talked about stacking rogues will get you the kill, and stuff like that, which is, interesting because, I mean, did they know that back when it was in PTR? I don't even think they got any kind of freaking, like, actual testing when it was on PTR. So
I
how
don't
do you
think-
all of a sudden just have 9 rogues or whatever to bring to a fight in order to kill something? That's a whole nother subject into itself. To answer the question, I would be ecstatic if they did. I'd want a future T-shirt and a hat and all kinds of stuff, which they probably don't even make. I would be totally bought in.
They would afterwards.
Yeah, maybe. I'd be totally bought in it, but honestly, I don't know if it's gonna happen. But this kind of leads us right into talking about the progression update. So let's do that. So world first update. I'm getting this information from method.gg. The reason this information is different than the Raider.io is because method.gg shows the Asian servers, which technically aren't supposed to be part of the actual race because their servers work differently than ours. But what they show is currently for Avatar in the world, it's Method, then Exorcist, then Alpha, then Style War, then Scrubbusters. In the EU, because there is no US teams that have killed it, it's Method, Exorcist, Scrubbusters, Memento, and Aversion as the top 5 that have killed it. So there is a lot that have killed it. US teams are one boss behind. There is more than 5 US teams that have killed Maiden, Limit, Easy, Honestly, Incor, and Alacrity. I don't know if that's how you say that. But those are the US teams that are probably getting as close as possible, but none of them have beaten Avatar yet. So honestly, I like this much progression, and even if the boss is unkillable right now, the only problem I see with it being unkillable is the fact that if they nerf it in some kind of a way to make it killable, they may be inadvertently helping someone whose raid times are more beneficial because they'll be able to hit it first after the nerf, which is kind of crappy.
Well, I know a lot of raiders at the high level are complaining because they can't kill it. And not because they can't kill it, because it's taken as long as it has. And that was my reaction too. Good.
Yeah.
Let the race last more than,
I'd like
4
it
days.
to, we're not even up to the end of the 2-week mark.
We're not there
happy.
yet. We're getting there.
We're
but
week and a half at this point.
I remember, like, it hasn't taken this long since Cataclysm, and I think it was at that point Ragnaros was the longest one.
So wasn't there a couple tweets the other day from Sko and maybe Exorcist, whatever, who said they really only just started working on him because I guess they went back and farmed gear or whatever, I don't know, but they didn't, in this time, they hadn't really been doing many pulls on him because they realized they couldn't do it quite yet?
Well, they said stuff kind of like that. I think they did a reclear to get more gear rather than save their lockout and go right back to him, which, to be perfectly honest, if they thought that Avatar was unkillable or Maiden was unkillable at one point, I forget which one they were tweeting about, and then they killed it right after that. But if they thought that one of those were mathematically impossible, then they need more gear. So it makes sense to go back and get more gear. But yeah, they did nerf Avatar, which again, if you happen to be lucky enough to be the first people in after the nerf, that's kind of crappy. That's the reason why you would get the ranking that you would get from it. So it's tough, dude. I feel like if they're gonna nerf bosses like this and control it, it does need to happen at the reset, and it needs to be something that's known. Unless something's broken. Something's straight up broken, they need to fix it immediately. But as soon as they figure it out. But if they're going to nerf something, that needs to happen at a reset so that way every team basically has the same ability to go in and kill it if they can make their schedule work. But I like that it lasts almost 2 weeks at this point. And to be perfectly honest, I know that it's difficult for raiders to be able to do this type of rating where they're having to go basically for 2 weeks straight hardcore rating in order to try to get this. But to me, that's part of the reason why this is a prestige thing, that only certain people can do this kind of a thing. And if they do change it in the future where it's more controlled and it's more eye level controlled and a lot of the crazy grinding and the 24/7 gameplay is not really required, that's great. But the way it is right now, this is how it works. So let it be overtuned right now so that way it doesn't get crushed in 3 days, and make it at least last a couple of weeks, but do it in a way that it's fair and you're not giving unfair advantage to a team that just so happens to be hitting that boss right after you nerfed it.
Yeah, there's also, I know, I remember seeing something like where they're basically beta testing the boss right the last time they were in there doing it, because apparently stuff wasn't working right and all that, and why should they have to be the the beta testers of a new boss like that. And I'm like, well, because they don't want you to kill it in a day.
Right.
I mean,
and to be
make
perfectly
a
honest,
boss.
there's only certain teams in the world that can stack 6 rogues. You know, there's only certain teams in the world that have so many people playing multiple characters that they can just say, okay, all of our range needs to be Shadow Priest, or whatever the case may be. And those are the teams that do the split runs. And those are the teams that have the people who basically either take vacation or just don't work during the time that the raids come out. But for the rest of us, the fact that they do it the way they do makes it something that's not going to be done in 2 weeks, and it's going to take us a while to get through it. It definitely doesn't kill split runs, because they're still doing split runs, but it does affect the way that we get through the content, and I totally think they should do it that way. Nothing wrong with it. However, if you give away the last fight, you're letting these teams know what the actual ideal comp is going to be for it, so they can then prepare to stack 6 rogues or whatever the case may be. So I honestly feel like the last maybe even 2 or 3 bosses should never actually hit PTR testing. They should just have a larger team testing in-house for those. Or more testing time for their current team in-house.
I agree, because most just I don't know. It's like, you know, finding out what you have to like cook on the Food Network challenge before you do it, and so you have like weeks to prepare that recipe, and then it's you know, easier for you than say somebody who has no idea what blah 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 dish is or whatever, and they have to like make it up on the fly kind of thing.
Yeah, they're not gonna. No, I can't imagine any of the world first guilds, like was just said in chat, that they would extend their lockouts, because there is the new gear, and with the Warforged, Titan Forge, Gem Socket, you know, tertiary stat, leech, avoidance, all that. Why would you, unless you don't think you can beat the boss again?
Right.
So
But that's the scary part to me. If there's a boss that takes 100+ wipes to kill, how long is it going to take you to kill it the second time?
Stupid
That
fun.
to me, that's scary.
Yeah,
it
well,
could be
I mean,
60 more pulls.
to like people like us, we struggled, and we still struggle to this day with Botanist and Nighthold.
Yeah, and Botanist and Heroic sucked.
Yeah, Botanist and Heroic sucked, and Mythic would be worse.
Yep. It
These
was worse.
people, these people are doing the Mythic first. They're the ones creating the strats that we follow later on, usually.
Right.
Yeah, but not always. I mean,
Not always, no.
Yes,
but
no.
my
Sorry.
point.
Strats, yes, but
Yeah.
100 wipes and not being able to kill it easier the second time, no. My raid team, granted this is not Mythic at all, but we had a huge issue with Horadon in Throne of Thunder, and we had over 100 wipes on him.
Yeah.
But once we had it, we had it.
Yeah, but my point is, like you just pointed out, you had a huge issue with this one boss. Once you got it, you knew what to do. You went back, you did it again. It might have taken a couple pulls, but you got it. These people are playing at a level that are killing bosses that they really should not be killing.
Well, I would like to know. So Iron's talking about how, I think it was Future, I'm pretty sure is what he's talking about, had 300+ pulls on Avatar. Maybe he might be talking about Method. I don't know. He might be talking about Exorcist. But whatever raid group that
Method,
is.
I believe, had 436.
Okay, so a team that has 436 pulls on a boss, when they go in to kill it the second time, how many pulls? Are they 1 or 2 shotting it just because they figured it out? Or is it just that hard that it takes them another 50 or 60 pulls to kill it again?
I would imagine it probably took them about 12. Because, again, they play at a different level than we do.
Usually 2, he says.
Yeah. Because once you know the fight, you are expected to know the fight.
But the thing is
I
that
mean,
it's not
that's like
always
going
knowing
into-
the fight. I mean, like, for our example, for Botanist, on Heroic, when we were having all those issues killing it on Heroic, it's not that we didn't know the fight, we just had problems executing it to the RNG of the fight. Sometimes it would work out perfectly and the right people would get the ads and we could take care of it, no problem. Other times the ads would go crazy because the people who we weren't expecting to get the ads got them, and everything just went nuts because of the placement of where everything was, and all of them have flowers
I'm
going
gonna
everywhere.
I'm going to disagree with you on that. It was not the RNG of the fight. It was the RNG of people's reactions.
Oh,
Sometimes
that's
people
part of it.
turned and got
Totally
the ads,
agree.
and sometimes they didn't.
Totally agree. But I mean, the fact is that when there's things like that that are different each time that you fight it, your ability to kill it is not going to always be the same because of your RNG of your reaction time, as you called it. Totally agree, though. But I mean, my hope is that they will go to a system where it's actually tracked, it's controlled, and there's an item level cap so that people who actually have jobs can compete a little bit better. Maybe not world first, but maybe just get a little bit higher than the rankings than, however many thousands of the way down without having to spend 14 hours on the game every day or more. Because currently, the way that it's set up now, if you're not spending that much time on the game, you're behind. Period. That's the only thing that I wish that would change. But the way that it works right now, it's still exciting for me. I pay attention to it. I know I might be in the minority with that. But Hallen actually asked a really good question, which I want to come back to in the chat, because I think that you guys may have some good input on this too, if I can find it. Oh, no, it went away. All right,
So before you get to that, though,
yep.
if going back to something you said about the last couple bosses not bothering being on the PTR, I'm fine with the last boss as long as they figure out what the DPS requirements are and the healing requirements are, and they base it off of that instead of let's just throw it together and see what sticks, which is what a lot of people are complaining about. So what they should do is, okay, we're expecting this comp to be the first to kill. So you need to have these abilities to negate certain things. You need to have this much DPS and these healing cooldowns, etc., and so forth. Figure out that, and then you figure out what item level you need for your raid around that. And then you can up the item level a couple for the next boss, and then just raise the numbers accordingly based off of prior information, if that's what you're going to do. But you have to then adjust those numbers based on how much movement and stuff like that.
So here's the
So
problem.
if they want to
with
do
that.
it,
I think they do that to a degree. But whenever they make these fights, they can only guess how we're going to react. They can only try to control it. They can't control what we actually do. And even when they're on PTR, the groups that are in there are combating it with different strategies and changing the way they're doing things, which may not be anywhere near the way the original devs thought the fight would go. So those original numbers and measurements that they had when they first designed the fight go out the window because the people who are playing the game are playing it differently than they had intended when they designed the fight.
well, that's why I'm thinking you take that information based off prior PTR bosses, like for that specific raid.
Why
like
specifically mean not comp? I mean strat.
Yeah. So what I know what I'm trying to say in my head. It's just not coming out right. Like you'll take, say there's 10 bosses and you only get to test 8 of them. So the last 2 are hidden. You take, okay, boss number 1 requires such and such numbers. Boss 2, a little higher. 3, a little higher. 4, a little higher, etc. and so forth. Till you get all the way to the top. And then you get those numbers and you're like, okay, well, we need these numbers. Let's figure out how we can make it harder to get these numbers. Okay, let's figure out how we can get it harder to get these numbers. Like that kind of thing.
Which that leads me. I agree with you. That leads me to the, what do they call it? The Tomb of Soakcraft that we have now, which gets us back to Howland's question, which was, do you guys think they're going to remove immunities in the next expansion to stop class stacking? No. However, I think soaking will be much less of a priority on the future raids. Because of the fact that like 7 out of 9 of the bosses had a soaking mechanic this time.
And paladins with their freaking bubble can only do like 3 of them.
Yeah. But
I feel someone is a little salty about that.
If I'm going to be salty about anything, I will say that. Because I'm supposed to be immune to freaking damage at that point. No, it's still, some of this stuff still kills
your immunity is, you're not impervious to death. You're not impervious to death. You can die.
No, then you're not immune.
Okay, you have one immunity and it lasts for like, you can use it once every 10 minutes or 5 minutes or
Yeah.
something.
So this is my thought: is don't kill the immunities, keep the immunities, but put them on a longer cooldown.
Okay, I'm fine with that. But I'm like, oh, blah. I have the immunity bubble. Nothing should be able to touch me. I should have anything that hits me, psh, whatever, immune. Psh. Rogue goes in. I can't immune it, but I can not take 99% of it. I don't know if rogues can do that. Just as an example.
They have cheat death, which is basically instead of dying, they stay alive.
Yeah,
So
well,
it
I mean,
actually kills
I have
them,
it.
but then they don't die.
Yeah, and then there's a bunch of other classes have some things that are just damage reduction, and they can soak it no problem. But me, who should not take I should take 0 damage from it, dies from it. I have an issue with that.
I don't, and this is why each class is supposed to be different. And if we all have the same ability and the same ways to negate mechanics, then there's nothing different about each of the classes.
No, I get that, but if I can't soak something by not taking any damage, why can any other class do it at all?
Because
Because
we're
that's
all
what makes them
unique.
In that
special.
bubble, I'm in that bubble. I should take 0 damage no matter what hits me.
I don't necessarily disagree with that because of how that actual spell works. You're right. That's how that spell should work. But saying that you should be able to do it because other classes do it is not an argument that works.
No,
because-
I was just pointing out other classes have these other abilities that work and that they work fine,
Mhm.
but mine, who is it's supposed
But
to basically
I've
just bounce off me and go back.
I have a question.
Mhm.
Demon hunters can double jump. Why
That's
can't
fine.
all classes double jump?
Because that's a demon hunter thing.
Right.
Right.
But
Same thing as why the other classes can do certain things.
and they can do certain things. I get that.
So Galv said you're in an opinion bubble right now, and no other opinions are having an effect on you.
Yes.
That was
And-
good.
no.
Touche.
Okay, so demon hunters can double jump. Mages can blink. I mean, time warp. Every class has their own thing. I'm not arguing that. I'm not saying every class should be able to do whatever this one thing is.
So Howland actually made the point that kind of backs you up, and he's 100% right. It's fun to be unique until you lose your raid spot because you're the wrong kind of unique for a fight or the whole raid tier. And he's 100% right, which is why soaking is cool on a fight or two in a raid, but it shouldn't be almost all of them. No mechanic that only certain classes can do should be in almost every fight in a whole raid tier.
But I don't think stacking is the right thing.
But how?
I understand it's going to
Right.
cheese it, but
Ooh, cheese
the
it.
ha ha. I've never had those. They look gross. But
Yeah.
the fight should be designed, I'm assuming here, because I haven't really, don't have much experience on that, but the fight should be designed to be able to be done if you're doing mechanics properly with whatever classes. It just may be a little harder than if you bring a million Shadow Priests to Il'gynoth kind of thing.
Right.
But
So-
that's exactly the kind of thing that they didn't want, and they nerfed Il'gynoth. So with this rogue stacking, do you think after somebody manages to kill it that there's going to be some changes so that other people don't stack rogues and kill it like that?
Probably.
Well, Mythic is the way they described Mythic when they first said we're going to make it set for 20 people. You need to have X number of these classes. We can expect you to have at least one of each, possibly two of some of them, and that's all you need.
And that's it.
They didn't expect we need 6 rogues or 9 arcane mages or whatever it was that was needed back then. And I totally agree. You don't need to have everyone to be immune to everything or anything like that. It's more of whenever you're making that mythic thing, they should base it or mechanics around what they expect your raid to look like. Not let's make this fight require 9 Shadow Priests. This fight 13
So-
rogues.
This is the part I don't think you're getting. When they made these fights, I don't think they had in mind, oh, they'll probably just bring 6 rogues and a whole bunch of mages in order to be able to immune this entire fight. I'm fairly positive when they were thinking of this fight, they were thinking, okay, they've got these soaks, so they're going to have to figure out how to do these soaks, but it won't matter because blah, 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 blah. I'm pretty sure they weren't thinking, how are they going to cheat our design by using in-game mechanics of certain classes to overcome it. I don't think that's what they do.
Yeah, no, they're not. I'm just saying, but when they make the encounter, from what they said originally, we expect, at least one of every class, because you have 20, we should be able to expect that. Unless one class is just, their DPS is just so horrible.
And the fact of the matter is, because of the way that the raid race works right now, it doesn't make sense to expect raid teams not to stack the classes that they feel that they need to in order to kill the boss the fastest, because there's not a rule. They're not being quote-unquote watched. Their eye levels are not being scaled. And when the time comes, hopefully, that Blizzard does something like that for an official raid race, maybe not the everywhere raid race, but for the actual Blizzard championship raid race, whatever, then it won't matter as much. Because they can say, all right, you can't have more than 2 of any one class or 2 of any one spec, for example. And they've made a lot of changes that are really good. And to be perfectly honest, this raid is awesome. It's very good. It's just, there's a lot of soaks, which is weird. So take away some of those soaks, and this is an amazing raid tier. It's beautiful. The mechanics, for the most part, are interesting and different. I mean, who knew taking balls to the face was going to be such a cool and amazing raid encounter?
I'm going to say fist.
Damn.
Not if you're lagging. So,
damn.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I am not being salty about this at all. This raid tier is fantastic, but it's a little bit heavy on the soaks. They should probably only have that be like 3 fights instead of 7, and then it would be totally fine.
Look, all I'm saying is I just want you guys to say my name and say that I'm doing a good job and I'm special and I don't know.
Are you referring to the person that was in our chat and then wanting us to say their name?
He said say my name, so I said my name. If someone's going to come in trolling us, I'm going to troll them right back.
Well, how do you know they're trolling? Maybe they just like your voice. They want to record you saying their name.
Oh, damn.
No, I don't care. Anyway.
So your answer is no.
I
am sorry. The answer is no.
No.
All right. So
I will, however, do this. I run Alessander Galv.
Oh, wow.
Howland.
You're going to say everyone else's name but that person?
Damn.
Okay. That's just mean. This is not how you get more followers, Draven.
Dang it! I knew I was doing something wrong.
So I think we've pretty much covered everything. We've gone way over an hour. So did you guys have anything else that you wanted to touch on for this show?
No, I think we're pretty good.
Pretty good. All right.
It's...
So let's talk about how you guys can contact us. We love it when you guys contact us for sure, and this is how you can do that.
So at Epic Fail Podcast, we do love it when you contact us. So here's the ways that you can do that. We are at www.epicfailpodcast.com. On Facebook, you can find us at /podcastepicfail. Twitter is at podcastepicfail. You can follow Draven at Draven Dresden on Twitter. You can follow Scarlet at Scarlet_CTR. And you can follow me, Theory, at Gank Theory, also on Twitter. Don't forget, you can find our podcasts on iTunes and Stitcher Radio. We look forward to hearing from you.
All right. So, Scarlet, do you have any shout-outs for this week?
No. I don't. I'm antisocial this week. I don't know what to say at all. So no, I don't have any shoutouts.
So Scarlet's shout out will be to the live chat room and the people who are here every week.
Yes. Thank you guys.
totally pulled you out of the fire there, Scarlett.
Okay, Draven, do you have any shout outs for this week?
Outside of the ones that Scarlett just, gave with my voice, I'm going to give my weekly shout out this week to Brutal for taking me into the Black Temple with him. And yes, we had a little bit of trouble with Illidan for a while, but
You were
I
in
got
that
the run
group?
through. Not tonight. I was on
okay.
Tuesday.
How about
Tuesday early.
How about a shout out for the person that just donated? He's a turtle. He's probably my favorite turtle. And we get to see him at least twice a week.
Norman!
Yes, that's a good shout out. Thanks, Norman.
Thank you, Norman. You're
awesome.
weird, but we love you anyway.
Norman is not weird. He's cute.
He does like to pull them.
He's cute.
Norman's awesome.
Norman has a suicidal tendency, let's face it.
It's okay.
But
It's okay. All of us
yeah, it's
tanks
fine.
do.
But yeah, I'm going to give my shout out to Norman and to Brutal for helping me get my Warglaives on my Demon Hunters. Yes, I said plural. Also, I'm going to second Thule in chat. Happy belated birthday again, Scarlett.
Oh yeah, I'm old. Yay!
So, is it really belated if you haven't seen the person since their birthday? So, like, do I have to say belated? Because can't I just say
Yes,
happy
'cause it
birthday,
happened.
Scarlett?
Sure.
Because it already happened.
Oh, man. So, happy birthday, Scarlett. I would like to give a
Thank
shout
you.
out to all of the cops that did not pull me over on the way to Louisiana and back, and to my car for not breaking down on the way. I would like to not give a shout out to the AC in my car, which gave out halfway there, because that was kind of crappy. But luckily, it's working again now. So, shout out to the people who make the Freon that you put in your car AC to make it work again. And, of course, to family, because I had a wonderful time with my family, and I enjoyed it very much. But I am happy to be back on the show. Okay. Think we should sing to Scarlett? So,
Okay, so
Draven has
Des,
been known
you
to
were
sing.
here for it. I've done it once, and I said I was never going to do it again, so I
And
can't.
he did it as Marilyn Monroe.
Technically, I did it as Mike Myers, as Wayne.
Doing
As
Marilyn
Ma-
Monroe. Yes. Yes.
That's
It-
just a whole
it
lot
was
of
impressive.
ads.
Yes.
But yeah, I don't normally sing. That was a one-time thing. I'm sorry.
I think Des, they're gonna just fail that.
Well, I mean, do you really want us to traumatize poor Scarlett like that? I mean, really?
So the problem is doing a duet over Skype doesn't work. So let me just tell you that right now. Because if I sing, Draven hears me a little bit after I actually sang, which means it will not line up. The things won't come together correctly. It will just sound horrible.
Which I know technically would match our, our name, but
Let's not fail on purpose.
Why
Oh.
not? That's the most fun thing to do.
use a DVM counter.
Jeez. No. Someone will pull early. All right. Do we have any last words for this week?
Norman's adorable.
Okay, bye. Hello, mother.
You know, the world could always use more heroes.